Thank you guys for having me. It was such a pleasure to meet Lyndon recently, and he told me all about Cometa. I have to admit I don't get out very often because I work all the time, but I was very excited to hear what he was doing and what you guys are doing as a community, and it seemed to fit perfectly with what Reconsidered Goods is doing, so it's a good partnership. So I'm going to back up and tell you a little bit about how we got started. We've been around for 3.5 years now. We got started with a grant from Action Greensboro, actually, a Spark grant, which is a really great program they have. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm talking loud. It's a micro grant program. The idea is to propose an idea of an event or some kind of fun thing that would happen in downtown Greensboro that would bring people out. It's free for the public to attend. So that was what we got to get started when I had the first idea to create a pop-up shop for this idea of creative reuse. Before I got the Spark grant, I attended a boot camp at Scrap Exchange. Has anybody ever heard of Scrap Exchange in the room? Awesome. They are what I call the mothership. They're huge compared to us. They've been around, I think, 28 years now. So I did a 4-day boot camp with them. At the time I was working in retail. I was doing the display work at Anthropology and Friendly Center and making all the weird creations there. I have an arts background. So I was kind of ready to step out of the corporate retail world and try something new. So I did the boot camp, got some training on how to create this weird, wacky business. Went back, worked a few months, quit my job and said, I'm gonna go for it. I got the Spark grant. We created a pop-up downtown in Greensboro, and what we needed to do was launch this idea of creative reuse to people who've never heard of creative reuse before. It's kind of a weird concept. So we rented a space, had all these weird materials, and had people just come in and create things. And people got it immediately, so it was really exciting. So I was like, okay, great, I quit my job, this is gonna work. So we got our advisory board, we worked on our board of directors and got a couple of co-founders and found a space. So we are at 2805 Patterson, which is kind of a weird part of Greensboro if you've ever been there. The easiest way to say it is we're right behind Red Collection. But our store is a strange little spot. You wouldn't know it from the front because basically we're too busy to decorate outside, so it looks pretty plain. And then when you walk inside, it's an explosion of weird, fun stuff. Most of our inventory that we have, well, all of our inventory is donated, but the inventory we have is geared toward creative people. So it's yarn, it's fabrics, it's paints, but we also have housewares and hardware and office supplies. Pretty much anything you can think of that you might be going out and buying new, you can probably find at our store. We have a small select things we don't take. We don't take clothing, bedding, and large furniture and electronics. You can find those at other places. But what we try to teach people is that you can come buy secondhand. It's not weird or gross. Well, I mean, it's a little weird. That's our thing. But it doesn't have to be digging in bins and a gross experience. So what we try to do is make sustainability appeasing to those who might not go to a thrift store normally. So we do a lot of merchandising, which is something I was trained in retail to do. So we were able to present buying used to a group of people that might never try it. The dishes are displayed in a way that's artful, so you see them as a thing of beauty instead of something that somebody cast away. But what's exciting about what's exciting about some of the things that we get in are that they just have so much potential, and the person who dropped them off saw that potential and drove it across town to donate it to us. Our mission as a nonprofit is to keep things out of the landfill. So what we do is we weigh every single thing that comes in, and we started out probably just doing a few hundred pounds a month of donations, but as of this year we are averaging about 9 tons of materials a month. Yeah. So it's incredible. It's also very overwhelming. The bigger we get, the more stuff's coming in. But it's also super exciting. You just never know what's going to come through the door. So whenever somebody asks me, do you own Reconsidered Goods, I can honestly say no, because I don't own it. Nobody owns it. It's made by the community. it's the inventory is by the community. The shoppers are buying it, so they're the community. So it feels very organic that way. We don't know what's coming in. Right before I left today at about 4:30, I got a carload of artificial flowers, and half of them were from the tops of caskets, or from gravestones. So I've got to deal with that tomorrow. But you never know what's going to come through the door. But it's very exciting that people want to bring in their stories, and I think that's what makes it more part of the community, is people are giving us things and passing on something that meant something to them, because they don't want it to go to waste or be buried in a giant bin at some other thrift store. So we take each thing. My mom actually works for us for free. I don't pay her. But she'll take the vintage linens home and wash and get the stains out and then press them. And she loves to do that. But she knows that those laces were handmade, and nobody does that anymore. So we find these little treasures that nobody else would appreciate, but they have stories behind them. And I think that's the beauty of it, is people bring us things. Sometimes they're downsizing, and they are having trouble letting go. So it makes them feel better and able to let go of it, knowing that somebody's going to appreciate it. So we hear a lot of stories in the back dock when it comes in. Sometimes it's somebody cleaning out an estate, and it's just so hard for them. But if they know that it's going to a good cause, and somebody's going to love it, it's closure for them. So there's a lot of psychology I did not get trained for in this job. Scrap Exchange did not offer that minor. But I think we've gotten used to knowing that we have to have open hearts every day at work, because we don't know how vulnerable these people are that are giving us these things. Sometimes people are just purging and they just want it gone, and then some people come to the dock with tears in their eyes, and it's their grandmother's items. And you just have to appreciate the fact that they're letting that go and passing it on for the right reasons, but also because they want somebody to love it like they do. So that's a really special part of the story of Reconsidered Goods. Yeah. So one of the exciting things that's happened to our space, since we've been in our original building 3.5 years, in August of this year, we opened up, rented the building next door, which had recently been vacated. It used to be a very scary nightclub, and there's still, we've saged the building, just so you know. There's a lot of stories. But it's got some really good vibes now. This is our creative event space. It's also going to be rented out as a sustainable space, so people can come in and rent it for workshops or meetings or team leadership groups, and they can use our plates and our glasses and our linen napkins and be fully sustainable in this space. And it's a really fun, creative space. We're really enjoying it. But we do a lot of our creative reuse with children over here. Our Make and Take Lab is open Fridays and Saturdays. And what that is just barrels and barrels of information, interesting materials that will not go to the landfill. So it might not be things that we would normally sell in the store, but it's things like manufacturing offsets that they had that were just going to get thrown away. We'll catch those and have the kids play with them. It's really cool materials. And to see the kids do creative reuse is really exciting, because what's great about having like a Title I school come in where they have no resources whatsoever and no supplies, they'll see these materials and just see all these options and ideas, and there's no rules, there's no boundaries. They can make whatever they want. And it's really incredible to see kids just have that freedom and step away from the testing and just do what they want to do. There's just no rules in creative reuse with kids. So they really come up with some great things. And it's really neat to see them work together that way. And these are some of our adult classes that we did. There's Avery. This was at Weatherspoon. We did a journaling class and had about 90 people show up. It was free and it was amazing. So it's great for kids and adults. It's all of our materials are all things that we had donated and that we're reusing. So we're really preaching the sustainability, but also doing arts and crafts. So we're really doing arts education as well. And that's one of the hardest things. When we have people come in the store, they want to have something tangible of what does your nonprofit do? And that's the hardest question, because it's not something that it's tangible. it's arts and environmental education. They kind of get it, but once they see this kind of activity going on, they really start to get it and realize how important it is. So these are some of the things we get. We get little treasures, and we present it to people in a way that's just turning little tiny pieces of trash into art, and how there's so much potential in things that are already existing that we don't need to go out and buy everything new. And the last question, I think, is what's the weirdest thing we've ever gotten donated? So sorry. I'm not sure that these are chicken feet. Some people said they're not chicken feet, but I'm not 100% sure it's legal to sell chicken feet, but yes, I did. And also, I sold it to a boy, and he gave me his allowance money for it. And he was so excited. So creative reuse can be just about anything. But giving back to the community and giving people chicken feet is also very important. So you guys come out and see us, and look on our website and our Facebook and Instagram. We have all kinds of great activities happening this spring.